The illegal immigrant suspected in the killing of Georgia College student Laken Riley is now asking to suppress multiple pieces of evidence ahead of the trial because his lawyers say it was all taken illegally. That includes 2 cell phones, genetic and physical information, social media data, and even his Google location data. Here to react, former federal prosecutor Andrew Cherkasky. Andrew, thank you for being here. I don't understand how they can say that this evidence, even if it was taken illegally, the DNA evidence seems to be pretty important to the case. If they are allowed to keep this out, does that really risk the opportunity to prosecute this guy?
Well, despite Laken Riley's accused killer being an illegal alien, he will be afforded the full rights of our Constitution. And so with that, we will see his defense counsel file whatever motions or whatever efforts they can to defend their client, as we typically do in these cases. Just because he's filed a motion to suppress this evidence doesn't mean that it's a particularly strong issue or that they're going to win this issue. This is quite ordinary in a matter of this complexity when he's facing these very grave charges. So I think it's too early to come to a conclusion that this is going to go badly for the prosecution or something along that line, especially with the DNA. It sounds like the DNA they're challenging because it hasn't excluded another person as well. That's the sort of thing that a jury can sort through, that a judge typically won't keep the evidence from going forward to the jury. So I see this case moving forward. I think that this evidence is going to come in largely. There's more litigation that has to happen with regard to what exactly is going to come in and what might be kept out by the judge.
Do you have any idea what makes them say that these pieces of evidence were taken unlawfully? Is it he wasn't read his Miranda rights, or there wasn't a translator, or can you pontificate on what those facts are, or do you know?
Sure. So they're saying that there's a lack of probable cause. So that causes me to think that when the police got there, they're alleging that the police were just kind of randomly plucking him and saying that he was the suspected killer, or that in getting the search warrants, they were putting too many pieces of the puzzle together without enough evidence. That's the sort of thing that I think the judge is going to have to sort through quite deeply. The reports on this, or the specifics of what the defense is saying, hasn't been made public as far as I can tell at this point. The prosecution will get a chance to respond to all of this, and there will be a formal hearing to this. So this is just kind of the initiation of the complaint, saying that there wasn't probable cause for the various search pieces that occurred during the course of the investigation.
So the trial isn't until November. Say these pieces of evidence are withheld from trial. Is there enough evidence otherwise to get a conviction here?
Well, there is pretty overwhelming evidence with the number of different things that happened during the murder, before the murder, and afterwards. And so I think that the prosecutors are going to have a mountain of evidence to bring against the accused killer. The problem ultimately comes in if the judge were to keep some of this evidence out, what would the prosecution do? There are appellate options that they can take prior to trial if it's something that would essentially change the nature of the case. So I think there's a lot to be done here, and the prosecution's got a strong case.
Andrew, thanks for joining us.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.